Welcome to Inside Games Daily, the only gaming news show brave enough to ask, hey Bungie, where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
Throwing more dated references around on Inside Games. Hey, if you can't celebrate being old, what can you celebrate? That old lady took America by storm.
Certainly is a big one.
But will marathon? That's the question on everyone's lips, and the consensus on the internet is not yet anyway.
No. By the way, we are not the most brave to ask that question. Literally everybody else has asked the question, where's the beef? That's the joke. If you guys, when we say we're brave enough, that's always the joke. Hopefully you get it. Halo and Destiny series developer Bungie finally revealed Marathon over the weekend with an 80-minute live stream. Lawrence, tell me, 80 minutes all gameplay, right?
Oh, well, all right, so we had some trailers in there. We had some developers sitting in low-slung chairs chatting about the project. There was a fair amount of gameplay. I'll say that. For an early reveal, they had a whole stable full of creators there, hunched over PCs playing, cranking out some gameplay footage, and they had a live caster kind of switching between them. So it was a decent look at the game, and a pretty good production overall.
I mean, Bungie's pretty good at those Vidocs. I remember watching those for Destiny, and I was like, this is so stupid. I'm so tired of these Vidocs. Please just show us unedited gameplay. And Destiny turned out to be pretty good. It took a little bit, but it turned out pretty good. So while Marathon is loaded with style, clearly from all these videos, most folks are very underwhelmed.
Yeah, that narrative trailer was sick as hell. But when it comes to the actual game, all right, audience, stop us if you've heard this one before. You're on a team of 3 running around on a giant map. Got other teams of 3 running around too. You're all fighting AI NPCs that are running around, collecting loot, and trying to extract from the map before you die, and other teams take all your loot.
That's it. Those are game. I think I played that game like 10 times before.
Yeah, a lot of people have. That's what's kind of the question mark here. After nearly 2 years since the game's reveal in May 2023, I think a lot of people were expecting a little more gameplay pizzazz, some kind of hook, an it factor. Instead, it sounds like it's the most basic templated extraction shooter we've seen for a while now.
Yeah, I guess it's sort of like a hero extraction shooter, sort of. Marathon, like a slower Apex Legends. That's a 6-year-old game. That's also free, but Apex is a battle royale, not an extraction shooter.
That's true, yeah. You're right about that. Unfortunately, Marathon will not be free. Yeah, probably where a lot of people were going after seeing this reveal.
The official Marathon X account posted that Marathon will... This is one of my favorite... I was actually following this. Marathon will be a premium title, but not a full-priced title. I cannot stand this language. It made me so angry when I was reading it. I was like, this is so stupid. Just tell me how much it is.
Probably don't know yet.
They don't. Yeah, you're right.
And they're probably going to set that based on interest level, probably buying intent, which doesn't seem super high. So, hey, maybe it's already whittling down. Partially addressing this, Marathon game director Joe Ziegler addressed the topic on the Friends Per Second podcast. The quote was transcribed by Video Games Chronicle.
We're hoping that what we're showing is exciting enough that someone is going to take the leap with us, but we are also committed to delivering on seasons past this that will continuously offer to evolve the game without an increase to the box price.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, like what you said with Destiny, Bruce, it evolved into something that was a little more formed. Probably not a good idea to start dangling updates you haven't even done to justify the box price of the game before the game's even out. That always starts to squick me out a little bit.
It's doing the same for a lot of people. Lawrence, hold on. I've got an interesting question for you that maybe we've seen this before.
Yeah, stop if you heard this one before.
Let's do a little equation here. A competitive multiplayer only game with dated mechanics that will not be free. I feel like this game came out last year. Who was in it?
Yeah, under a games of service mandate from a parent company. Oh, what could that have been? Where's our favorite characters of all time? Sweet, sweet trash can. Boneface, is that you? Are you back? I mean, the characters in Marathon look cooler than Boneface. We can agree on that.
They do.
So it's got that going for it.
They really do.
Yeah.
This is Bungie. I trust Bungie more than I did some random developer for Concord. I really do. Like, they've got a lot of games under their belt. So the fact that they're charging for this is making me upset. But at the same time, it's not Concord. I'm pretty sure it's not Concord.
Yeah, I hope it's not Concord. The problem is, I think, just the fact that the shooter market is already so crowded. Even for free games that have already been on the market for years and have iterated on their gameplay, here comes Bungie with a product that seems kind of content anemic and doesn't really offer a new gameplay hook. So I guess it's just hoping that Bungie magic is going to carry the day, and that doesn't really work out well for games. Yeah, it seems like a lot of people agree, honestly. We see a lot of these reactions in the press, and even from critics and YouTube comments and Reddit comments. There's a weird unity around being nonplussed by Marathon.
Yeah, writing for GameSpot, Timur Hussein, Tam, is just a fantastic dude. Thinks that Marathon's polish might not be enough. He said, quote, I'm worried Marathon could launch as a solid multiplayer shooter that is brimming with potential but thin on content. And in the dog-eat-dog world of multiplayer games, that could be a major issue.
Hussein goes on to summarize by saying, although I enjoyed the game, it was very evident that it didn't have a hook. A special something that will help it stand out from the crowd. An X factor that gives it a fighting chance in a crowded world of multiplayer games that demand all your time and attention. I wouldn't go so far as to say it felt soulless, but it definitely felt like something was missing. That one ingredient to bring it all together.
It's really interesting to hear. Writing for Kotaku, Ethan Gash asks the most direct question. Can Marathon afford not to be free? This is a great question.
Eesh. After all the hiring and firing Bungie has done, it probably can't afford to not be free, actually. But yeah, I'm looking at it from the business angle of they probably invested so much into this, they have to charge for it. But as usual, the YouTube comment section also offers up some quality zingers. Lort7771 writes, it won't be a marathon to this game's demise, it'll be a sprint.
Boom. Wow, the racing each other to the joke, my favorite thing. SoFly1875 said, coming here right after seeing the cinematic trailer feels like biting into a chocolate bar and noticing it's just a slab of sawdust painted brown.
Clump Fandango writes, 5 minutes to simply say, you ever played an extraction shooter? Yeah, it's one of them.
Constantine2423 summarizes the general reaction well over on Reddit. Quote, I know it's just a trailer, but nothing I saw showed this game bringing anything new to the market. Saying brought to you by the folks who made a good game 20 years ago doesn't cut it anymore. IMO. Now here's the thing. They also made Destiny and Destiny 2, which isn't 20 years ago. So I will say that I really do trust Bungie with a shooter. I do. That's one thing they know how to do, and they've been doing it for years, and they're still good at it. They proved that with Destiny, regardless of all the, lore content garbage that they released and didn't release, and all the expansion packs and all that other shit. The fact that it's a games as a service. The shooting is second to none in Bungie. So I expect the same for Marathon.
That's a fair expectation. I think the lingering question that everyone's asking is that even enough these days? Just for a game to control well? Because Destiny's already out there. I know it's not the same game type, but yeah. On the other hand, I was expecting quite a bit more. I think that might be understandable. A lot of people may be in the position I'm in. The game, here's the problem. The game will ship with 3 maps and 6 playable classes. And again, if they're already talking about updates that are going to hit soon after launch, that doesn't feel good, especially when they're charging you money. And of course, there will be a battle pass. So it'll cost money, and there will be a shop on day one. And it's seems like a pretty basic extraction shooter experience. And they're also kind of like dangling story elements and seasonal storytelling stuff without saying what format that'll take, because if it's like Destiny, it'll just be a head talking to you. And that's kind of lame, and also they disappear when Destiny decides to take them out of the game. So, yeah, the shooting might feel fun, but as a value package, there's a lot of lingering questions and a lot of Bungie has done this before kind of issues that are rattling around, at least in my brain.
So just a little bit more about Bungie in the case you don't know. Obviously, they made Halo, and they've been making Halo for years, and they once they left Halo franchise, they went to go make Destiny, and Destiny has continued to be a major success as well. So Marathon is supposed to be a new premium franchise from this studio. So that's a big deal. It really is. The studio once had over 1,300 employees after being acquired by Sony in 2022. However, there have been multiple waves of layoffs. They have slashed that number of employees by a third. So Lawrence, where did all that money and time go?
Yeah, that's what's principal on my mind. The game looks real cool, and if Bungie's art team has just been grinding and iterating and making this really cool world and aesthetic, then that makes sense. But what was everybody else doing? I wonder if truly they tried a bunch of prototypes and experiments with extraction shooters and kept coming back to the basic format, because every alteration they did just made the experience worse, I guess. So I'm not sure. I don't see where all that time and effort went, because this kind of looks like a game you could put together pretty fast, minus the art. I mean, just the raw oomph in the game itself and the volume of content. So we'll see. We'll see if the brand, the name, the notoriety, and the aesthetic is enough. But I don't know. Okay, so I've been pretty pessimistic on the game, but I also have to admit it's just really not my thing. Extraction shooters, while fun, are just like to me, they're too intertwined with monetization, almost on their basic format, and the gambling aspect of it. I mean, even the trailer says keep gambling. So I'm just not into that experience. I don't feel a thrill. Gambling with my time is almost what it is. If you wipe in an extraction shooter, you lose all your progress or all your loot. And I guess that's thrilling in some ways, but I don't get it. Like, why would I play a game where that's the thrill? I can play other games that have similar thrills, but don't just put me on an endless hamster wheel for the sake of generating engagement and store interest for another company.
That is true. I'm glad you brought up the fact that you have a little bit of a bias against these types of games. This isn't usually your thing. These are generally my thing. I actually really like these games. I played a bunch of Tarkov. I'm not like a Tarkov lifer, but I played a bunch of it. I played a bunch of Apex. I really like these sorts of games. So I'm actually very excited for Marathon. That said, it was funny because I was looking at the internet reaction to the gameplay and trailers, and I was gonna go like dig in and like be like, oh, I can't wait to watch like an hour of content or whatever. And like everyone was like, there's nothing here. so to me, I was like, well, all right, well, I guess I'll wait a little while just to see what else they can release. Maybe I'll get into the closed alpha and get to play that. I will say that Tarkov has had, they've had like an iron grip on this extraction genre. There's a few others, obviously Call of Duty with their extraction version worked out. It was okay. There's been a couple others that have tried in recent times on Steam, like Arena Breakout and Gray Zone Warfare, and like there's a few that do this pretty well. And I think that they're dumbing down the format of Tarkov, which I appreciate because Tarkov is very complicated. There's a lot of depth to it, and in some cases, like if you don't want to sit down and play 6 hours of Tarkov, then you're not going to be able to play. It's one of those things that I think that's why people really like it, because there's a really high learning curve. So once you actually get good at Tarkov, you start to feel like a god. And I think maybe that's what Bungie is going for. I think they're trying to go for the hardcore audience first. And then once they've got them in, then they can tweak as necessary, make the game a little easier for noobs or whatever like that. But I think this is directly aimed at those people. And I hope it's not. I would much rather it be for new people, for people like me who like want to play an hour of a marathon, not 6. So we'll see. I don't know. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe the hero abilities sort of point to the fact that maybe it is for noobs. Maybe it is. I don't know.
That was all I could figure. Just the general pace of the game seems super slow. It kind of reminds me of what, I think this is a pretty appropriate comparison, even though nobody who made that game is at Bungie anymore. But it does kind of remind me of something like Halo Combat Evolved compared to where PC shooters were at the time. You had something like Quake 3 that was crazy fast, jump pads everywhere, rail shots across the map. That's crazy intimidating to somebody who hasn't been playing those games for a decade on at that point. So you have Halo come in, it's like it's kind of made for a controller. You move really slow, you jump really slow, you look around really slow, all the guns spray everywhere. But all that stuff makes the game feel a lot better on controller. Makes it easy to parse what's going on. And that's kind of what this game feels like compared to other extraction shooters right now that are extremely fast. Time to kill is really, really short. And you can just get like jumped on from somebody and die before you know what's going on. It seems like this game was made so that even if you get ambushed, the pace of the game is such that you have a few seconds at least to parse what's going on. Maybe get in a shot back, maybe use an ability, but at least you can like parse what's happening and then accept it. And then I guess be mad that you've lost out on all your gear and start over. So I don't know. I don't know, like that feels like a Venn diagram that has little overlap, people that want to play an extraction shooter, but have only stayed away because the games are too technical or too intimidating. I feel like intimidating is part of the genre. Just throwing yourself into this like corral pen with other players and NPCs and things. You're kind of after the thrill. So it's interesting to me that this seems to like target people who maybe would be thrilled by that, but want a slower, more accessible game. I'm not sure that there's a lot of people like that. Maybe there are. Maybe I'm one of them. I don't know.
Tarkov, to be fair, Tarkov is very slow. The pace is very slow. So it's either like really impossibly like walking through bushes and buildings and stuff, or you're getting shot in the head. Like the firefight is like that. It's done. So there's a, like you said, the time to kill is just a nightmare in Tarkov. Hopefully it's not like that in Marathon. Because again, if the time to kill is like that in Marathon, then that is firmly directed at the hardcore audience, because people like me, again, are not going to be immediately good at this. People that have played Destiny for years probably will be good at this, because they probably have those Bungie mechanics down. So I would imagine transferring from Destiny to Marathon will probably be easy for a lot of those players and content creators to go from Destiny to Marathon. And I think that I would bet Bungie's even made a path for those people, so that they can come directly over and be like, hey, you don't need to worry about Destiny anymore. We're sort of sunsetting it. Play Marathon. And so prepare, if you play this game, Lawrence, prepare to just get absolutely smacked, because it's going to happen. And that's one of the things that still scares me away if that's what happens.
Yeah, why? I just won't. I'll keep my $40 and play a game that's fun instead.
Right. No, yeah. And you're totally right. Like, you're absolutely right. I think, the challenge for people like me who don't play these games all the time is am I going to go in and have a cool experience, even though I lost all my gear 3 times in the course of 3 hours? Am I going to have a good time? And God, man, I hope Bungie is thinking about me and not all of the other people that have played Destiny for 5,000 hours. I really do.
Yeah, I just feel like I become the game for someone else when I play a game like that.
Yeah.
I'm just the dipshit that some other dude who's played the game 5 times as much as I have can't wait to run into, because I'm just a fat slob full of loot for them to kill and have fun with. So I just won't. I guess the idea previously was to do matchmaking that was so good, or to have meters and progression mechanics that hook you even if you're losing, but it won't have that, or at least, I mean, extraction shooters rarely do. I really liked that narrative clip, but extraction shooter is probably the worst format of game to deliver anything like a story. So where's that going? I don't know. Yeah, the math just isn't adding up for me.
Lawrence, man, you make a lot of really good points, and it'll be me spending $40 and I'll be the game for somebody else. Like, I'm going to go in and play for 8 hours and be like, well, I got killed 1,000 times and everyone got my loot over and over and over. I have all I have is a hatchet. And so I will stop playing. Like, that really sounds like an absolute nightmare. It's like a bunch of the COD bros talking about skill-based matchmaking, being like, I'm so tired of skill-based matchmaking. How come I can't go in and kill a bunch of noobs? Like, I don't want to be the dude that gets killed over and over. Like, that doesn't sound like fun.
And nobody wants to be that guy, because nobody thinks they will.
I mean, man, that's not true. I do think about that. I really do.
Well, as usual, Inside Games remains on your side today. Once you decide to rage quit Marathon, you can have a free game waiting for you, provided that you redeem it in the next couple of days. Metro 2033 Redux is free for 2 days right now on Steam and Good Old Games, so check that out. We have links in the description to them. We'd also like to shout out a very special Inside Games patron at the end of the episode here, John Warden Gallardi. Thank you very much for extracting $40 directly to your bank account by not buying Marathon.